I went from being chronically lonely to having the ability to make friends, to being confident, and just having a fulfilling social life now. But throughout that time, I realized something. The problem was I had become complacent. I made the friends, right? I have friends. Before I didn't, I was lonely. I finally made them through training, through becoming confident. And I just stopped after that because I already had what I wanted, right? I achieved the goal. But there was a problem. I wasn't really speaking to anyone anymore. I wasn't actively going out of my way to speak to new people because, sure, even though I could do it, do I really want to? Right, I already have what I want. Is there any reason to speak to that random guy who's older than me? Not really. Not really, bro. But I just realized today after going out, there is actually a huge benefit of it. And I'm going to explain to you why, if you want to become confident, and if you want to have friends, and if you just want to have a fulfilling social life, it's actually, ironically enough, it's required to continuously speak to more people. You can't, like, it's not a one-time thing. It's not like, okay, you make the friends and that's it. You need to keep going up, bro. You need to keep going up because, you know those people who get a girl, right? They've done a lot of work improving themselves. They get a girl, and then right after that, they just fall off completely. They start taking drugs and jacking off all the time and doing bad habits and just putting their lives aside because they've already gotten an attractive woman, right? They have an attractive girlfriend. It doesn't matter anymore. And they just stop doing anything. And then the woman leaves them and they're just left there. Stupid, bro. They were good, like they were attractive before, and they just lost that all because they didn't put in any more effort. And by not living a social life, you end up falling into that same category because it comes as a package. You don't just make the friends and become confident and that's it. No, you need to also live a social life. Right, the all-encompassing thing. It's a package deal, right? You can't get one. You need the whole thing. And I'm going to tell you a story from today. So I was going to the store and I was just going to pick up some groceries, nothing crazy. And on my way there, I thought, you know what? Let me try and speak to more people than I normally would. Normally, I just kind of greet people and just leave. But let me try and speak to more people. Let's see what happens. So I went out. I was at the store. And as I was going to pick out some bananas, I saw some old lady. And I just struck up a conversation about how she was like analyzing the bananas for some reason. And I thought that was funny. And ironically, even though I wouldn't expect this, I learned something from her. I learned about this thing called like a banana roll or something. Like instead of using some spread like butter or something for bread, you can use banana. Anyways, it doesn't matter. The point was it was a fun conversation. I learned something that I didn't know and I just moved on, right? I was walking a bit more, getting groceries. And as I was walking, I saw this security guard. But instead of just walking past, I greeted him. Like I just said, good afternoon. I stopped and we talked for a bit. He complimented me. He was like, man, I respect you. You actually showed respect. You greeted me, even though most of these people here don't. And we were talking for a bit. And he was on the job, obviously, so he still had to do other things. But I departed. And even though these were short conversations that lasted like 3 minutes, it was still fun. And the benefit of it was that I felt good, right? I spoke to this person and I was complimented. It was fun. And for what it's worth, 3 minutes to speak to another human being and to feel valued and be complimented, isn't that worth it? how often do you get complimented in your life? Especially for men, how often do you even get complimented in a day? Most people barely get complimented, and it's because they don't even know anyone who would compliment them. Like, look, most people don't know how to give compliments. They don't genuinely. It's not even that they're trying to be malicious and not compliment you for your achievements. They genuinely don't know how to give praise. It's a skill that people aren't taught because of this weird world. And of course, there are tons of factors to blame: social media, the schooling system, all of this BS. But the point is, most people don't know how to praise people at all. Honestly, it's a skill I've been working on myself. So if I'm struggling with it, and I've been practicing just becoming more confident and charismatic for like 2-3 years, think of the average run-of-the-mill guy, bro. Your friends don't know how to give compliments. The people around you don't know how to. So you need to meet new people because they'll have those qualities. And even though it seems like quite a small thing, it's just compliments, it is actually quite a big deal. Like, imagine living your life and you barely get complimented. You do all of this work, all of these achievements, and no one recognizes you because you can't speak to anyone. That's sad, bro. And another thing, I think this is the most important, it gets you into a social flow state. Basically, when you go about your day, you don't speak to much people, right? And because of that, biologically, it's easier to not speak to people. Because I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but like, let's say you're sitting in a class, you haven't spoken for the last 2 hours, right? And your mouth has just been sealed shut. Genuinely, your saliva, even try this, bro, don't open your mouth for the next 2 hours. Your saliva will start kind of drying up and gluing your lips together. And you'll kind of feel a bit more tired. You won't really even feel like spending effort and energy to speak to people. And you'll kind of be slouched, you won't perform as well. You literally downgrade in your skill to talk to other people the less you talk to them. And even though it seems like a small thing, you can just open your mouth anyways, this little bit of friction, this tiny little bit, your lips are just a little bit sealed shut, that is enough to make you not speak to someone. That little bit of friction, because bro, it's already a task for most people, probably you as well, to speak to a new person. It's a task, it already takes energy, it's already difficult and anxiety inducing. And then to add extra friction on top of that, even if it's small, that could be the difference between you speaking to someone and you just saying, I don't feel like it. Getting into a social flow state is essentially the opposite, where you actively speak to other people to stay in this heightened state of awareness where you can speak to more people. You speak to people and upgrade your ability to speak to more people, and you become more charismatic naturally just because you're getting more attuned with speaking to other people, observing their reactions. It's like warming up. Bro. Imagine you're a runner. Right, you do stretches to warm up beforehand. You probably don't stretch your arms. You stretch your legs though, right? You do stretches and that allows you to run better and perform better. If you just ran full speed, sprinting, without any warm up, you'd get injuries. You probably couldn't do it for long. You warm up by speaking to other people so you can speak to the people you truly want to. Right? You won't go up to that really attractive, hot, blonde woman if you haven't spoken to anyone that entire day. And you're kind of slouched, your posture is bad, and you don't feel like speaking to anyone. You won't. So it's very, very important, that you spend the effort and energy to speak to other people and you'll actually feel more energized because you're speaking to these people. I thought, and this was a truth I didn't want to accept, I thought you'd feel more tired by doing this. If you spoke to random people, you'll feel more tired. It kind of feels annoying to do it. No, you'll actually feel more energized because speaking to other people energizes you as long as you're having fun. So it's the main reason why you must speak to other people. Even if, this is the thing. I always believed you should only speak to the people you want to, right? You look at someone and if they seem interesting, you speak to them. You see some attractive girl, you speak to her. You see some guy who fits your criteria of who you want to be around and you speak to that person. But even outside of that, I believe now, my beliefs have shifted now, a change. I believe anyone who's aspiring to live a fulfilling life where you actually know a lot of people, where you have fun, you must live this social life, this package where you speak to anyone, not everyone, right? That's not possible. It takes far too much time, but you speak to much more people, even if they don't fit in that criteria. Do you think I thought, the security guard, he fits my criteria of a friend? No, he's way older. He was like 40 years old. And, but I spoke to him just because he caught my eye a little bit. Right? That's it. It wasn't like I expected anything from the conversation necessarily. I just thought it would be interesting. What would happen? So speak to different people, even if they don't really fit your criteria of someone you'd hang around in the future, just out of curiosity. I wonder what this person is like. Maybe I could learn more about them. Or just literally be honest. And you can enter a conversation anyway, but you can enter it in this way. You could say something like, you know what? Sorry to interrupt you, man, but I am just bored. My friends are all busy and I don't have anything to do. Would you mind just talking with me for 5-10 minutes? You'd be surprised how often that would work, genuinely. But people are so willing to speak to you. Everyone is lonely, bro. Everyone. So you having this ability to put you above everyone else, basically. No one else is confident. And friends are getting busier and busier. I'm sure you've had many days where your friends are busy and they can't hang out. It's not going to get better. You need to be able to speak to other people who you don't know and make more friends and kind of build that up. You can't get complacent, because what are you going to do on the days where you're bored and you really want to hang out with someone and everyone else is busy? Everyone else is on holiday. Everyone else is moving ahead in life. And you're just kind of sitting here with nothing to do. It's just saddening. So in order to combat that, you just meet a lot of new people, and you meet a lot of new people and you see their character by talking to tons of new people. You'd be surprised. There's probably some guy who looks like an average dude who's a multi-millionaire in your town. In your town, there's probably a multi-millionaire and you've walked past him even. But because you didn't bother saying anything to him, just because you thought, I don't feel like it. I don't know who that guy is. It looks kind of skinny. Just because of those thoughts, you missed your opportunity to befriend a multi-millionaire. He would have given you tips on how to succeed like he did. You could be a multi-millionaire right now, and you aren't because you didn't talk to that guy. Obviously, that's a bit extreme, but you get the point. And honestly, there probably is a multi-millionaire in your town. So the actionable step I'm going to give you is just to speak to more people. That's really it. If you don't speak to anyone because you don't have the confidence, I would highly recommend you check out the top link in the description. That's the social protocol, where I will personally teach you exactly how to become confident. But outside of that, even if you can speak to people, take an effort when you go outside to speak to more people. Speak to people who you normally wouldn't, because you'd be surprised how often people have traits that are interesting that you would have never expected. You learn more about people. That guy said he was an ice skater, and that was interesting enough for you to get his number. And later on, when you decide to go to an ice skating rink, just randomly, you invite him over. None of your friends would have went ice skating with you, but he frequents that ice skating rink in your town, like at some town centre. There's just some ice skating area you want to go to. And he goes there all the time. He has like this deal where he can invite a friend for free. And instead of paying like £40 to go ice skating, you just do it for free. That's common even. I remember I met some random guy playing the piano in this, what's it called, train station. And I got his number, and he was a student at this university where he was actually in this piano group or whatever. He actually managed to get me and a friend in to play at this huge grand piano. I've never played at a grand piano before. He got us in even though normally you'd have to pay in order to go into that university and to play at that specific grand piano. And we got in for free just because he goes there and he just asked one of the people if he can invite us. So you can get... There's a lot of benefits to speaking to new people, right? That's the main lesson to learn. There's a lot of benefits, so make sure you do that. And I guess it is harder to do when you're hanging out with someone. Every time I'm hanging out with a friend, I don't speak to as many new people because I'm literally speaking to a live person right now. And in those cases, I wouldn't force yourself to. You're already speaking to someone. So you kind of already get into a flow state just by doing that. But get good at the skill of intercepting people in conversation. So even in a conversation with your friend, when you eventually see someone you really want to speak to, you can say, oh, hold on one sec, bro. And you can go up to that person, because that is quite a useful skill. But more importantly, just make use of the time when you aren't hanging out with anyone, where you just go outside by yourself, because those are so valuable. And you'll speak to so much more people, that you'll meet so many people, you'll learn so many new things when you do something alone, and it's also outside of your comfort zone. So that is quite valuable, I'm telling you. I hope this video helped you. Check out the top link in the description. It's the social protocol. And I'll see you in there.